Welcome to the Celestial Saga channel. Could you imagine that something that was once a joke would now become a threat to the oldest civilization in the galaxy? Today, we will tell you how humanity, long considered an insignificant race, appeared in the heart of an intergalactic confrontation. What brought them to this point? Watch on to find out. On Velia, the serene homeworld of the Sinai, the day began with its customary calm, the capital city, adorned with crystalline spires that soared toward the heavens, glistened under the glow of the twin suns. A gentle hum, the city's eternal soundtrack of tranquil existence, resonated through the air, a melody that had endured for countless millennia. Elders, Ethan and Lucas stood on an observation platform, gazing out over the breathtaking cityscape. A soft breeze danced around them, stirring their vibrant feathered crests, an iridescent display that shifted from deep cobalt hues to dazzling gold with each subtle movement. These resplendent crests, crowning their elongated skulls, signified not only their advanced age, but also their esteemed status within Sinai society. Their gleaming, scale-framed eyes, set deep within angular faces fringed with feathers, reflected an intelligence shaped by centuries of wisdom as they spoke. Their voices carried a resonant depth, a cadence that blended seamlessly with the hum of the city below. "Have you heard?" Ethan began, his tone tinged with wry amusement. "There are whispers that the humans have finally decided to grace us with their presence." Lucas chuckled, his crest rippling playfully. "Humans? Truly? I thought they were still preoccupied with perfecting their footwear. What could they possibly want with us? Their ventures into the cosmos are barely out of infancy, and their technology—" He paused, smirking. "Well, let's just say it's quaint compared to ours. Perhaps they've figured out how to strap engines to their shoes." Ethan laughed, shaking his head. "Imagine them zipping through space in their tiny crafts trying to keep pace with us. It's remarkable they even know where to find us." Their laughter gradually faded, and they turned their gazes upward, relishing the tranquil expanse of the sky. Velocia had always seemed removed from the galaxy's chaos, a sanctuary where time flowed more gently. The notion that humans, once dismissed as primitive and amusing, might one day pose a significant presence on their world seemed inconceivable. But then a peculiar energy began to pulse in the air around them. The peaceful sky darkened, as though something immense were eclipsing the twin suns. Ethan and Lucas's amusement gave way to confusion as they looked upward. "What is that?" Lucas muttered, his crest stiffening with unease. Before they could fully comprehend the scene, massive shapes materialized in the sky. Terran ships descended silently, their sleek and alien designs unlike anything the Psi had ever encountered. These ominous vessels hovered, casting long, foreboding shadows over the city. Ethan and Lucas stared, struck speechless. The humans had not arrived with the slow, deliberate approach the Psi would have expected, but with an abruptness that was both disorienting and alarming. It was as if the Terrans had appeared from nowhere. "By the ancestors," Ethan whispered, his voice trembling. How did they get here so quickly?" Lucas's crest flattened against his skull, the humor drained from his demeanor. I don't know. This shouldn't be possible. We should have detected them long before now." The weight of realization hit them both like a physical blow. The humans, once regarded as quaint and inconsequential, had suddenly become an undeniable force, one that had arrived unbidden and unanticipated over their sacred world. A year earlier, in the Grand Library of Velocia, a vast repository of the Psi's accumulated wisdom, a peculiar report had stirred quiet amusement. This library, a monumental archive of glowing data pads, holographic displays, and ancient texts, held records of countless civilizations the Psi had observed, influenced, or conquered over millennia. Among these venerable volumes was a seemingly trivial document that had become a source of ridicule: the report on Terran footwear. An Exarian ago, a reconnaissance team led by the venerable sage Damien and his young protege Isla had compiled this report. Though Damien and Isla had since faded into obscurity, their findings endured as a punchline among the Psi. A species so dependent on external coverings for their feet had seemed laughably fragile to a race that prided itself on superior evolutionary traits. In council chambers, references to Terran shoes became a recurring joke during lighthearted moments. "The Terrans and their shoes," elders would remark, shaking their crests in amused disbelief. The report became a cultural shorthand for triviality. A reminder of humanity's perceived insignificance, yet, a lingering question occasionally surfaced, whispered in the corridors of power. Had Damien and Isla overlooked something? Could there be more to humanity than their peculiar obsession with footwear? Such thoughts were quickly dismissed. What importance could a species bound to its atmosphere and devoid of ambition hold? Humanity remained a footnote in Sci history, their existence encapsulated in a single curious quirk. But the universe has a way of shattering even the most steadfast certainties. As the twin suns dipped below Velocia's horizon, bathing the sprawling cities and ancient temples in golden light, the Sci would soon face a revelation they never anticipated. A faint signal was detected, barely registering on the deep space sensors that encased the Sinai homeworld like a protective barrier. At first, it was almost indistinguishable, but as it underwent analysis, the signal grew sharper, more defined, and unmistakably Terran in origin. What was most alarming, however, was its location. Emanating from deep within Sinai territory and tracing the path once traveled by the object humans had dubbed Oumuamua. The implications were staggering. How had they not noticed this sooner? As the realization struck the Sinai High Council, unease rippled through their ranks. Could it be that the Terrans, those creatures so obsessed with their shoes, had followed Oumuamua back to Sinai space? Could they have accomplished what the Sinai had deemed impossible? The answer seemed almost too extraordinary to accept, yet the evidence was irrefutable. Not only was the signal Terran, but it also hinted at technological advancements the Sinai had never anticipated. The time for mockery was over. The Sinai Council convened in urgency holographic displays, once used to humorously recount the Terran report, now flickered with grave importance. The grand halls, which had echoed with laughter in more carefree times, were now filled with anxious murmurs. For the first time, the Sinai faced a reality they had never prepared for. Humanity's return, not as a trivial afterthought, but as a potential rival. In the heart of the chamber, Sinai leaders gathered with their crests lowered, a rare and solemn gesture. The echoes of their past derision had dissipated, replaced by the weighty acknowledgement that the species they had dismissed had achieved something remarkable. As preparations were made to receive the approaching Terran fleet, the legacy of the infamous shoe report lingered like a shadow, a symbol of their greatest miscalculation. The humans were no longer the inconsequential creatures of old. They had claimed their place among the stars, leaving the Sinai uncertain for the first time in millennia. Meanwhile, the vastness of space, once an insurmountable frontier for humanity, had become a realm of exploration and conquest. 1,000 years after being deemed insignificant, humans had transformed into a technologically and socially sophisticated force. Earth, humanity's cradle, now stood as the capital of an interstellar empire, boasting colonies across countless star systems and a fleet equipped with faster-than-light FTL ships. On the bridge of the TSV Intrepid, the Terran fleet's flagship, Fleet Commander Isabel West gazed out at the stars with calm determination. The command deck buzzed with efficiency, officers and crew moving with precision amidst cutting-edge technology, a testament to centuries of relentless progress. "Commander, the fleet is ready," reported Lieutenant Commander Jason Clark, her trusted second-in-command. He stood beside her at the central console, where a holographic map of the local star system hovered. "Good," Isabel replied, her voice steady. She gestured slightly, and the map zoomed in on a specific, seemingly insignificant star system far from humanity's major hubs. At the heart of the projection was an object of great mystery, a relic from the past, Oumuamua. "Years ago, we detected faint signals along Oumuamua's trajectory through our solar system," Isabel began, addressing the officers gathered around her. "At the time, we dismissed them as natural anomalies, a simple interstellar object passing through. But as our technology advanced, we uncovered something more structured signals that pointed to an artificial origin." Jason activated another display, showcasing the object's trajectory and the pattern of detected signals. "These signals are ancient, Commander," he explained. "They've traveled across space for millennia, but their origin is unmistakable. They come from Oumuamua's starting point, deep within this star system." A hush fell over the room as the officers processed the revelation. Humanity's unyielding curiosity and drive for exploration had brought them to this moment. The possibility that Oumuamua was not merely natural debris, but alien technology had reignited humanity's determination to uncover the unknown. We've come a long way since we first encountered Oumuamua, Isabel continued, her tone resolute. Back then, we barely understood what it was or where it came from. Now we have the means to follow its path and uncover the truth. The development of FTL travel had revolutionized humanity's reach, allowing them to surpass the confines of their solar system, establish colonies on distant worlds, and emerge as a dominant galactic presence. Following Oumuamua's trail to its origin was humanity's next great step, a mission that could alter their understanding of the universe. Isabel's thoughts briefly drifted to humanity's history. For centuries, humans had grappled with their limitations, relying on tools and innovation to survive. Yet it was these very traits, their adaptability and ingenuity, that had propelled them to the stars. What others might see as weaknesses, humanity had transformed into strengths, forging their destiny with each new breakthrough. Set a course for the signal's origin, Isabel ordered, her voice filled with quiet determination. It's time we uncovered the truth. Or what had sent Oumuamua to their system? The command was swiftly transmitted, and the TSV Intrepid began to vibrate with the hum of its FTL drive surrounding it. The fleet prepared to follow. A formidable force, the pinnacle of human engineering, a testament to their relentless drive for exploration and expansion. As the ships surged toward their destination, Fleet Commander Isabel West felt a thrill of anticipation. They were on the brink of solving a mystery that had lingered on the edges of human history for centuries. The signals tied to Oumuamua were not just a call to action. They were a challenge to everything humanity thought it knew about the cosmos. Full speed ahead, Isabel commanded, her gaze fixed on the stars beyond. Let's see what's out there. The fleet accelerated, leaving behind the familiar realms of humanity's established systems, venturing into the vast unknown where the origins of Oumuamua, and perhaps a new chapter of human history, awaited. The TSV Intrepid sliced through the darkness of space, its engines emitting a soft, steady hum as it led the fleet toward an uncharted star system. The journey was eerily silent, the only visual the streaking white lines of stars distorted by the warp bubble surrounding them. Every crew member felt the weight of the moment, aware they were on the cusp of a discovery that could redefine their understanding of the universe. Commander West stood tall on the bridge, her attention fixed on the holographic map displayed before her. The path they followed had been meticulously reconstructed from the trajectory of Oumuamua, the enigmatic interstellar object that had passed through the solar system a millennium ago. What had once been an unexplained anomaly was now yielding clues, thanks to the detection of structured signals originating along its route. The puzzle that had eluded them for so long was finally starting to take shape. Commander, we're approaching the coordinates where the signal strength peaks, Lieutenant Commander Jason Clark reported from his station. His voice was calm, but an undercurrent of excitement slipped through. All systems are operational, and the fleet is holding formation. Isabel nodded, her mind racing. Bring the fleet to alert status. We have no idea what we're heading into, and I want everyone prepared for the unexpected. The command echoed through the fleet, and the tension on the bridge became palpable. The Terran fleet, a mix of exploration vessels, scientific ships, and heavily armed escorts, had been assembled specifically for this mission. They were venturing into uncharted territory, following the faint breadcrumbs left by an object that had ignited humanity's imagination for generations. Jason's voice broke the silence again. We're getting clearer readings as we close in. The signals are undeniably artificial, and they're growing stronger. It's almost as if something is guiding us. Isabel frowned slightly, absorbing the implications. Oumuamua had been a mystery from the beginning. Its peculiar shape and inexplicable acceleration as it left the solar system sparking endless debate. Was it natural debris, or was it an alien probe? The signals now revealed along its path had reignited those questions, and they were about to find answers. Do we have a visual on the source? Isabel asked, her voice steady despite the electric anticipation. Not yet, Commander, Jason replied, fine-tuning the sensors for maximum resolution. We're still several light minutes away, but whatever it is, it's massive. We'll need to approach cautiously. Isabel's mind raced. Prepare to reduce to sublight speeds as we approach the source, she ordered. I want a full scan the moment we have visual confirmation. The fleet pressed forward, the stars around them shifting as they ventured deeper into the unexplored system. The bridge was silent, but for the soft beeps and hums of ship systems, the crew hyper-focused on their tasks. Every person aboard understood the gravity of this mission. a culmination of months spent tracing Oumuamua's path with painstaking precision. "Commander, we've entered the outer perimeter of the target area," Jason announced, his tone tinged with awe. "I'm detecting multiple energy signatures. Faint, but they're definitely there." "Bring us in closer," Isabel instructed. "I want a full-spectrum analysis. Let's figure out what we're dealing with." As the fleet slowed, maneuvering with precision toward the signal's source, the anticipation reached a crescendo. On the bridge, every pair of eyes was locked on the data streams as they grew increasingly complex, and then the moment came. "There it is," Jason said quietly, his voice laced with awe. "We've got a visual." The main display screen flickered before resolving into an image. Suspended in the void was an enormous structure, dwarfing anything humanity had ever constructed. Its surface was a tapestry of intricate patterns, with segments that seemed to pulse faintly with energy, as if it still retained some functionality even after untold millennia. Isabel's breath caught at the sight. "Is it a station? A ship?" "We're still analyzing," Jason replied, his hands flying over the controls. "Its design doesn't match anything we've encountered, but one thing's certain, it's not of human origin. It could be a station, perhaps even a repository," Isabel thought, her mind racing with the implications. "Send out a probe for closer inspection," she ordered. The command was carried out swiftly, and a small, unmanned probe launched from the TSV Intrepid, its thrusters igniting as it made its way toward the enigmatic structure dot on the bridge. The crew watched in rapt attention as live footage from the probe began streaming back to the ship, each new frame revealing more of the alien construct's intricate details. "It's massive," Jason murmured, awe evident in his voice. "And those markings, they look like some kind of language or code. We'll need to decipher this." Isabel nodded, her gaze locked on the screen. "Relay all data back to Earth Command. They'll need to see this and prepare a team to analyze the structure. We're going to get answers." The fleet maintained its position, the ships hovering at a safe distance while the probe continued its survey of the alien structure. The data it transmitted defied anything humanity had encountered before. Evidence of a civilization far more advanced, one that had left behind a beacon or monument to its existence. The anticipation on the bridge intensified with each passing moment. They had followed Oumuamua across the stars, and now stood on the precipice of a discovery that could redefine humanity's place in the universe. Taking a deep breath, Isabel steadied herself. What had begun with a mysterious object traversing their solar system had led them to something far greater, an ancient structure, a relic of an advanced civilization, and possibly the key to understanding humanity's place in the cosmos. "Commander," Jason broke the silence, his voice tinged with excitement. "We've identified an entry point. It looks like a docking bay or an airlock." Isabel's eyes narrowed in thought. "Prepare an away team. We're going in." As the team suited up and prepared to board their shuttle, the fleet remained vigilant, engines idling in readiness for whatever lay ahead. The path charted by Oumuamua had led them here, to the edge of discovery, and what they would find inside the ancient structure could alter the course of human history forever. The interior of the station, long dormant and silent, exuded an eerie atmosphere. Flickering lights and decayed systems bore the weight of centuries of abandonment. The station, once a beacon of sci-fi expansion, had become a forgotten relic. Until now, the Terran fleet held position outside as a shuttle from the TSV Intrepid docked with the station. The docking bay, vast and alien in design, blended functionality with a striking, otherworldly aesthetic. Dust coated every surface, a testament to its prolonged disuse. Commander Isabel West led the away team, her expression composed but alert. As the airlock hissed open, they stepped into the station. "The atmosphere is breathable but stale," reported Lieutenant Olivia Gray as she scanned the environment. "No signs of recent activity, but the energy readings are stable." Isabel nodded. "Stay sharp. We have no idea what we might encounter." Moving deeper into the station, the team marveled at the architecture. Elegant, complex, and utterly unfamiliar markings etched into the walls, and the design of the corridors spoke of a species with unparalleled sophistication. Shadows cast by the flickering light stretched along the walls, amplifying the sense of unease. Suddenly, with a low, grinding sound, a section of the wall slid open. From the opening emerged a tall, slender figure adorned with iridescent feathers that shimmered faintly in the dim light. The Sinai caretaker stepped forward, his crest raised in a gesture of authority. Though his expression betrayed a mix of disbelief and intrigue, the Terrans froze, uncertain of what to expect. The Sinai's sharp gaze swept over them, lingering on their advanced suits and the technology they carried. Finally, he spoke, his voice smooth but tinged with condescension. "So, the Terrans have come to our ancient outpost," he said, incredulity coloring his tone. "I am Victor, caretaker of this station, though it has not known life in countless lifetimes." Isabel exchanged a glance with her team before stepping forward. "I'm Commander Isabel West of the Terran fleet. We detected signals originating from this location and followed them here. We had no idea anyone still occupied this station. And you speak our language?" Victor's feathers fluttered in an inscrutable gesture. "We are well acquainted with your kind and your customs. As for the station, occupied is not the word I would use. This is a relic, nothing more, but your presence here is unexpected. We did not anticipate that the Terrans would venture so far." Isabel remained calm, though her curiosity deepened. "You know of us," she said cautiously. "Yet you seem surprised to see us." "Surprised?" Victor let out a soft, almost mocking sound. "Indeed, the last we knew of your kind, you were preoccupied with the coverings on your feet rather than the stars." Isabel frowned, perplexed. "I'm not sure what you mean." Victor tilted his head, studying her as though attempting to solve a puzzle. "Surely you are aware of your species' reputation? The report that has echoed through our halls for a millennium? No? How fascinating." Tension thickened as Isabel and her team exchanged uneasy glances. They had no knowledge of any report, let alone one that seemed to define humanity in the eyes of this alien species. "Let me be clear, Commander West," Victor continued, his tone sharper now. "We have little reason to believe your kind could have developed such technology independently. Your presence here, aboard that ship, is far beyond what we expected of a species so engrossed in trivialities. Perhaps you deceived or manipulated another race into gifting you these advancements. This technology?" Isabel's tone sharpened at the implication. "We built it ourselves and others like it. Humanity has earned its place among the stars. We don't need to deceive anyone." Victor studied her for a moment longer, then sighed, a gesture that seemed both dismissive and weary. "I see perhaps I have underestimated you, though I find that hard to believe. Still, it is not my role to question further." He turned slightly, tapping a device on his wrist. A holographic display appeared. Connecting to a distant location moments later, the image of another Sinai materialized, a figure with a more elaborate crest and an undeniable air of authority. This was feathered sage Cedric, a prominent leader of the Sinai Council. "Victor," Cedric's voice boomed through the chamber, commanding attention. "What is the meaning of this interruption?" His sharp eyes quickly locked onto the humans standing in the background. "Are those Terrans?" "Yes, feathered sage," Victor began with a deferential bow. "It appears the Terrans have found their way to us, though how they managed it is beyond my understanding." He manipulated his device, sending data files with scans of the station and the Terran shuttle. "They claim these ships are of their own making, but I thought it prudent for you to see the evidence yourself." Cedric's eyes narrowed, his feathers bristling. "Terrans, here, with vessels like these? It must be some sort of trick." Isabel stepped forward, her voice steady. "I assure you, Sage Cedric, this is no trick. We followed the trajectory of an object that passed through our solar system, an object we now know is connected to your people. We've come in peace, seeking answers." Cedric studied her intently, his expression unreadable. "Peace, you say, yet your presence here defies everything we believed about your kind." He paused before nodding sharply. "Very well. You will bring your ships to Velocia. The High Council will wish to see this for themselves." His gaze shifted back to Victor. "Ensure they are escorted safely. If they deviate or hesitate, they will be obliterated." Victor bowed again, his expression carefully neutral. "As you command, feathered sage." The connection ended, and Victor turned back to the Terrans, skepticism still etched into his features. "It seems your arrival has stirred more than curiosity. Follow me to Velocia, where the Council will decide what to make of you and your claims." Isabel nodded, her mind racing with the implications of the encounter. They had come seeking answers about Oumuamua, but it seemed they had stumbled into something far larger, a confrontation with a species that had once dismissed humanity as insignificant and now faced the reality of their growing capabilities. As the away team prepared to return to their shuttle, Victor's voice stopped them. "Commander West," he said, his tone carrying a faint edge of warning. "Choose your words carefully when you stand before the council. They are not easily impressed, especially by those they deem beneath their notice." The team returned to their shuttle, the atmosphere heavy with anticipation. The journey to Velocia would be fraught with challenges and revelations, as humanity prepared to face the Sci-Fi and perhaps prove they were far more than the shoe-obsessed primitives described in an ancient report. The Grand Chamber of the Sci-Fi High Council buzzed with unease as its members gathered to address the most unexpected event in recent memory. The chamber itself was an architectural masterpiece, with vaulted ceilings that seemed to touch the heavens and walls adorned with carvings chronicling the Sci-Fi's long and storied history. But the pride that typically accompanied these meetings had been replaced by confusion and a hint of fear. Feathered Sage Cedric sat at the head of the assembly, his vibrant crest slightly raised, a subtle indicator of his agitation. Around him, the council members murmured in low voices, speculating about the Terrans and their sudden appearance. The arrival of a Terran shuttle at one of their ancient outposts had sent shockwaves through the council, leaving them grappling with implications they had never anticipated. Cedric raised a hand, commanding silence. "The data from the outpost," he began, his tone measured, "confirms that the craft docked there was of Terran origin. However, this does not explain how a species we dismissed as trivial could have developed or acquired such advanced technology." Sage Sophia, the eldest and most respected member of the council, leaned forward, her dulled but commanding crest catching the light. "Have we considered the possibility that the Terrans did not develop this technology themselves? It is conceivable they acquired it through less honorable means." Victor's earlier report echoed in the minds of those present. His initial encounter with the Terrans had been tinged with skepticism, suggesting they had coerced or deceived another species into providing them with such advancements. This theory had gained traction among the council, as it was difficult to reconcile the image of shoe-obsessed primitives with interstellar travelers. Sage Vincent Oler, known for his sharp voice and even sharper wit, cut through the murmurs. "If they stole this technology," he challenged, "why have we not encountered the true owners of these ships? Surely, such a transgression would not go unanswered." Victor, present via hologram, nodded in agreement. "At first, I shared this disbelief, but the more I reflect on my encounter, the more I suspect there is something we are missing. The Terrans I met were confident and disciplined. If they were mere thieves, their demeanor would not have matched the evidence before us." Cedric's feathers bristled slightly as he considered this. "Perhaps it is time to revisit the original report," he said, his voice heavy with irony. "The one that led us to dismiss the Terrans in the first place." A murmur rippled through the chamber. The shoe report, as it had come to be known, was infamous among the Sci-Fi filed nearly a millennium ago. It detailed humanity's peculiar obsession with footwear and concluded that Terrans were a species preoccupied with trivialities rather than the pursuit of greater knowledge or exploration. This dismissive assessment led the Sci-Fi to largely ignore humanity, deeming them an inconsequential and minor race. Now, a hollow display illuminated the center of the chamber, projecting the ancient report for all to see. Text and images filled the air, showcasing diagrams of human footwear and analyses of its cultural significance. Council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. What had once been a source of lighthearted amusement now seemed woefully inadequate, a flawed narrative that might have blinded them to humanity's potential. "We must face the possibility that we were wrong," Cedric admitted, his voice weighed down by the gravity of the statement. "This report, though thorough at the time, failed to account for the Terrans' capacity to adapt and innovate. We assumed their focus on shoes reflected a lack of ambition. But what if it was a mark of their ingenuity, their ability to transform even the mundane into something meaningful?" Sage Sophia sighed, her crest drooping slightly in a rare show of vulnerability. "If this is true, we have gravely underestimated them. And now they are coming to us, bringing the consequences of our misjudgment." Skeptical as ever, Sage Vincent Oler crossed his arms. "Even if we were mistaken, it doesn't change the lack of evidence beyond a single shuttle. We know little about their supposed technological capabilities. For all we know, this is a bluff, a facade concealing their primitive nature." Victor, participating via hologram, interjected, "But can we afford to take that risk? If the Terrans truly developed this technology independently, they could represent either a significant challenge or a valuable ally. We must determine their true capabilities before deciding. Cedric nodded slowly, signaling agreement. We will proceed with caution, Victor. Ensure the Terran shuttle is safely escorted to Velocia. Once they arrive, we will evaluate their technology and intentions. The chamber fell silent as the council members pondered their next steps. The Scifi had long prided themselves on their knowledge and superiority. But now, as they awaited the arrival of the Terrans, a sense of uncertainty crept into the air. Had they misjudged this species so completely? And if so, what would that mean for the future of their own civilization? As the session drew to a close, Cedric addressed the council one final time. We will meet these Terrans with respect, but also with vigilance. If they are indeed more than what our report suggested, we must be prepared for whatever comes next. The legacy of the Shu report may have led us astray, but it is now up to us to correct our course. The council members murmured their agreement, though unease lingered. Outside, the vast expanse of space awaited the arrival of the Terrans, and with them, the answers to questions the Scifi had ignored for centuries. Aboard the TSV Intrepid, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. The shuttle that had returned from the derelict station had brought back more than just data. It had initiated humanity's first formal contact with an alien species. Now, the crew prepared for a moment of historic significance. Meeting the Scifi High Council on their homeworld, Velocia. Commander Isabel West stood at the head of the large holo table in the command center. Surrounded by her senior officers, a holographic map displayed the precise path they were to follow to Velocia. Based on the coordinates and docking procedures provided by Victor, the Scifi representative. He seemed surprised, remarked Lieutenant Commander Jason Clark, his brow furrowed in thought, almost like he couldn't believe what he was seeing. Isabel nodded, her eyes fixed on the map. That's because he couldn't. They may have known of us, but they clearly didn't expect us to develop this far. Our fleet, capable of faster-than-light travel, has likely shattered whatever preconceptions they held. It's strange, though, Lieutenant Olivia Gray added, scrolling through the data. From what we've pieced together, the Scifi are ancient, possibly older than most civilizations we've encountered, and yet their technology doesn't seem as advanced as ours. They still rely on sublight travel for the most part, despite their long lifespans. Jason offered a theory. If you live for millennia, the urgency to develop faster travel isn't as pressing. They've likely expanded at their own pace, assuming no one would ever surpass them. Isabel considered this, her thoughts racing. That might explain why they're so taken aback by us. They've underestimated the drive and ingenuity of a species with shorter lifespans. We've had to innovate rapidly just to survive and thrive. And now, here we are, knocking at their door. A communication officer interrupted. Commander, Victor is requesting to rendezvous with the fleet. He's transmitting coordinates. Bring him in, Isabel ordered. Moments later, the Scifi shuttle appeared on the main display, gliding toward the fleet. As it approached, Victor's image flickered onto the screen. His demeanor was composed, but a subtle tension underlined his carefully measured tone. Commander West, Victor began, I will now guide your fleet to Velocia. I trust your ships will adhere to the prescribed flight path. Isabel smiled, unaware of the internal conflict hidden behind Victor's calm facade. Thank you, Victor. We look forward to meeting your council. As the Scifi shuttle aligned with the fleet, Victor's focus sharpened for the Scifi. This was not just an encounter. It was the first step toward reckoning with a species they had long dismissed for humanity. It was an opportunity to prove they were more than a footnote in galactic history. Together, they moved toward Velocia, where the course of their shared future would be decided. Sensors aboard Victor's shuttle began a deeper scan of the Terran fleet. What he discovered left him speechless. The fleet was far larger and more advanced than he had imagined, a stark contrast to the single shuttle he had encountered earlier. Each vessel was a masterpiece of engineering, bristling with technology that outclassed even the most cutting-edge Scifi designs. Energy readings revealed shields of staggering strength, weapons capable of unimaginable destruction, and FTL drives that made Scifi ships seem antiquated by comparison. For a moment, Victor's thoughts raced. He had assumed, hoped, that the Terrans might have borrowed or stolen their technology from another race. But this was something entirely unexpected. He was now escorting a fleet of unprecedented power straight to Velocia, with no opportunity to warn the Council of the monumental arrival headed their way. Commander West, Victor said carefully, his voice betraying an emotion the Terrans couldn't quite identify. Your fleet is impressive. These ships, how did you develop such technology? Isabel, unaware of the depth of Victor's astonishment, offered a proud smile. It's been a long journey. We've faced many challenges, but we've always pushed forward, innovating wherever we could. FTL travel was one of our greatest achievements. It opened the galaxy to us. Victor nodded, though his thoughts churned. The Terrans hadn't merely reached the stars, they had mastered them. The fleet they commanded could travel distances in minutes that would take his own ship 20 Earth days to cross their estimated travel time to Velocia. 10 Ren, 30 Terran minutes. For a species once dismissed as trivial, this level of advancement was almost incomprehensible. I see, Victor said, masking his turmoil. You are truly remarkable. We will reach Velocia shortly. Please follow my lead. As the fleet prepared to exit warp and approach Velocia, Isabel turned to her officers. This is it, she said with quiet resolve. First contact with an alien civilization. Let's ensure we represent humanity at its best. Her crew nodded, their excitement palpable. They were about to meet the Sci-Fi, a species steeped in mystery and legend, who had unknowingly guided them here with signals that sparked humanity's most ambitious journey yet. And they were arriving in a fleet that showcased the resilience and ingenuity of the human race. Meanwhile, Victor remained silent, his shuttle leading the Terran fleet toward Velocia. His mind raced, trying to reconcile the ancient image of shoe-obsessed primitives with the reality of the formidable fleet now following him. He could only hope the Council would be ready for what was coming. As the fleet neared Velocia and slowed, the warp-distorted view of the planet began to resolve Velocia. A world of breathtaking beauty and grandeur glimmered below, its cities and landscapes a testament to an ancient civilization that had thrived for millennia. But to Victor, the sight of his homeworld was tinged with dread. The Terrans were far more advanced than the Sci-Fi had ever anticipated, and in less than 1 Ren, the truth would be undeniable. With flawless precision, the TSV Intrepid and the Terran fleet emerged from FTL above Velocia. The transition was seamless, the ships appearing in perfect formation, their sleek hulls reflecting the golden light of Velocia's distant star below. The planet stretched like a gem, its beauty unmatched by any human world. On the Intrepid's bridge, Commander Isabel West watched as Velocia came into view, her expression calm and confident. For her crew, the operation was routine, a testament to years of hard work and innovation. But for the Sci-Fi, this moment was anything but ordinary. In the High Council chamber on Velocia, chaos erupted. The sudden arrival of the Terran fleet had thrown the Council into disarray. They had expected the Terrans, but not like this. The fleet's arrival had been so rapid and precise that it shattered all Sci-Fi assumptions. Instead of a slow, deliberate approach, the Terrans had appeared in mere minutes, their fleet dwarfing anything the Sci-Fi had ever fielded. Feathered Sage Cedric stood at the center of the chamber, his crest bristling with both shock and unease around him. The other sages whispered urgently, their voices a cacophony of disbelief. How did they arrive so quickly? One sage demanded, his eyes wide with fear. This must be some kind of deception, another muttered, her feathers trembling. No species can move this fast, not even us. Cedric raised a hand, silencing the room. His own thoughts churned as he tried to make sense of what had just occurred. The Terrans had not only arrived far earlier than anticipated, but had done so with a fleet so advanced that Sci-Fi sensors could barely comprehend it. Our technology cannot penetrate their shields, reported Sage Sophia, her voice taut with concern. We can't get accurate readings on their capabilities, but what little we can detect, it's far beyond anything we've ever encountered. If they were to attack, we would have no defense. The room fell silent as the gravity of the situation settled over the Council. The Sci-Fi had long viewed themselves as the pinnacle of galactic civilization. Now faced with a fleet that challenged their dominance, they were forced to confront the possibility that they had gravely underestimated humanity. Cedric broke the silence. We must proceed with extreme caution, he declared, his tone steady despite the turmoil within. Summon Victor and prepare for the Terrans' arrival. We must determine whether they come as allies or adversaries, but make no mistake, this changes everything. The Council members nodded, though their unease lingered outside. The Terran fleet hovered in orbit, a silent yet overwhelming presence. The Sci-Fi, once so confident in their superiority, were now faced with the undeniable truth. Humanity was no longer a species to be dismissed. Wise, advanced, and long secure in their superiority, the Sci-Fi now faced a reality that shook them to their core. The Terran fleet, hovering above Velocia in silent dominance, was unlike anything they had ever anticipated. Their confidence, once unshakable, now wavered in the face of the unknown. "We must contact them," Cedric said at last, his voice steady but laced with strain. "We need to understand their intentions and proceed with the utmost caution. This meeting could be one of the most significant in our history." The council members nodded in agreement, though the tension in the chamber was palpable. Never before had the scifi found themselves in such a vulnerable position. The realization was bitter, but unavoidable. A carefully worded transmission was sent to the Terran fleet, extending a formal invitation to meet. The message was polite yet guarded, reflecting the council's deep unease. The Terrans responded promptly, acknowledging the invitation and agreeing to a neutral location for the meeting moments later. A communication channel opened, and the image of Commander Isabel West appeared on the council's central holo display. Isabel's demeanor was composed, her expression professional, but the confidence radiating from her unsettled the scifi further. She seemed entirely at ease, a stark contrast to the tension gripping the council. "Feathered Sage Cedric," Isabel began, her voice clear and steady, "thank you for your willingness to meet with us. We come in peace and seek to establish a dialogue between our peoples." Cedric studied her intently, his thoughts racing as he tried to decipher her intentions. "Commander West," he began, his tone measured, "your arrival was unexpected. We did not anticipate you would reach us so quickly." Isabel allowed a small smile. "We were eager to honor your invitation. Our technology allows us to traverse great distances in a short time, something we take great pride in." The subtle boast did not go unnoticed by the council, and Cedric felt a pang of unease. The Terrans were not only technologically advanced, but carried themselves with an assuredness that was both admirable and unsettling. This was not a species that could be easily intimidated or manipulated. "We welcome you to Velocia," Cedric continued, choosing his words with care. "Our council is eager to learn more about your people and the capabilities you possess." "As are we," Isabel replied smoothly. "This is a historic moment for both our civilizations. We hope it will lead to mutual understanding and cooperation." The formalities continued, but the tension beneath the surface remained palpable. For the scifi, this meeting was a test, a chance to gauge the Terran's true nature, and decide how to proceed. For Isabel and her crew, it was an opportunity to showcase humanity's achievements and establish their presence on the galactic stage. Throughout the exchange, the scifi worked feverishly to scan the Terran fleet, desperate for any insight into their technological capabilities. Every attempt, however, ended in failure. The Terran ships were impenetrable, their systems far beyond anything the scifi could analyze. The meeting concluded with an agreement to continue talks in person. A neutral station was selected as the site for further discussions, where representatives from both sides would meet to negotiate the future of their relationship. As the communication ended, Cedric turned to his fellow sages, his expression grim. "We must prepare for every possibility. These Terrans are far more advanced than we ever imagined, and we cannot afford to underestimate them again." The council members nodded solemnly, the weight of the situation pressing heavily on them. First contact had been made, but the real challenge lay ahead. Aboard the TSV Intrepid, Isabel West and her crew began preparations for the next phase of their mission. The scifi were clearly shaken, a natural response to encountering a fleet as formidable as humanity's. But what mattered now was turning this encounter into a lasting relationship, one that would benefit humanity as it continued its journey among the stars. The fleet adjusted its position above Velocia, its sleek ships gleaming in the soft light of the distant star. Anticipation filled the air, and though the future remained uncertain, one fact was undeniable. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same again.